Now, Anguttara Nikaya 9.33, the Buddha said, where sensual pleasures cease, and those who have ended sensual pleasures abide. Surely those venerable ones are without craving, cooled, nibbutta, have by that very fact crossed over and gone beyond paragatta, I say. And where do sensual pleasures cease? Secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, a monk enters and dwells in the first jhana, and similarly second jhana, etc. So here the Buddha says, when a person attains the first jhana, he is without craving, he is cool, nibbutta, and then he has gone beyond paragatta. These terms, cool, nibbutta, and gone beyond paragatta, refers to enlightenment, refers to attaining nibbana. So the Buddha likens the attainment of even the first jhana to enlightenment. There is another sutta where the Buddha said that if a monk can attain the first jhana, even for as long as a finger snap, for such a short time, he is really a monk. He listens to the Buddha's advice and he eats the alms food worthily. He deserves the alms food that is given to him. So why does the Buddha say that when you attain the jhanas, you are cool? Cool, nibbutta. Nibbutta is associated with nibbana. When you attain nibbana, you have destroyed the asavas. A person who is enlightened is called a kinasava, one who has destroyed the asavas. Asavas are the tendency for consciousness to flow, because when consciousness flows, then the world arises. The world arises in consciousness. If there's no consciousness, there's no world. Yeah. So samsara, the round of rebirths, is due to the arising of consciousness. Okay? Now, the tendency of consciousness to flow is very strong. In everyday life, our consciousness is flowing all the time. We are thinking non-stop. Even when you go to sleep, the moment you fall asleep, the consciousness flows again and you start dreaming. Yeah? But when a person has attained the first jhana, the tendency of consciousness to flow stops. In the first jhana, the Buddha says he has no unwholesome thoughts. The only thoughts he can have is wholesome thoughts connected with his meditation. He's not connected with everyday life. For example, he might think, I must remember the steps I took to arrive at this stage. In other words, when you have attained the first jhana, you have attained temporary destruction of the asavas. An arahant has permanently destroyed the asavas, but you are in the jhanas, you have temporarily destroyed the asavas. That's why the Buddha says he is cool. And then the Buddha also says he has gone beyond paragatta. He has gone beyond also shows this is a very high state. And why does the Buddha say he has gone beyond? Because when a person attains the jhanas, he goes into another dimension. He's not in the sensual world anymore. That's why there's one sutta where the Buddha said, when a person enters the first jhana, he has blindfolded Mara. He has gone beyond Mara's reach. Mara cannot disturb him, cannot see him also. You see? So that's why he has gone beyond. In the Vinaya books, there are certain states that are called Uttari Manusa Dhamma. Uttari Manusa Dhamma, Uttari Manusa is higher than human dhammas, higher than human states, supernormal states, supramundane states. And what are these? The jhanas. Secondly, psychic powers. Thirdly, the parts and the fruits. These are known as supramundane states, supernormal states, because these are not states that a normal person can achieve. Yeah. So that's how the Buddha values the jhanas. Now, in the Digha Nikaya Sutta number 2, you can see that when a person attains the jhanas, the hindrances are eliminated long term. I say long term because it is not forever. Why? Because, for example, Devadatta, he attained the jhanas, but unfortunately he did not attain right view. That's why the other day, last Saturday, I mentioned that right view must come first. That's what the suttas say. You must attain right view before you meditate. If you have not attained right view when you meditate, like Devadatta, once you get psychic powers, the ego balloons. So in that case, he did very evil karma, so his mind was disturbed, and he lost all his jhanas. So the hindrances come back. So except for that state, if you don't create such unwholesome karmas, your hindrances are eliminated long term if you attain the jhanas. And this sutta shows it is so. In this sutta, the Buddha said, as long, Sire or Your Majesty, as a monk does not perceive the disappearance of the 5 hindrances in himself, he feels as if in death, in sickness, in prison, in slavery, on a desert journey where food was scarce and danger abounded. But when he perceives the disappearance of the 5 hindrances in himself, it is as if he were freed from death, freed from sickness, from prison, from slavery, from the perils of the desert. And when he knows that these 5 hindrances have left him, gladness arises in him. From gladness comes delight, piti. From delight in his mind, his body is tranquilized. With a tranquil body, he feels joy. And with his joy, his mind is concentrated. Being thus detached from sensual pleasures, detached from unwholesome states, he enters and remains in the first jhana. So you see, just before a person attains the first jhana, these 5 hindrances are eliminated. And the similes the Buddha gave is to make us understand that it is eliminated long term, because he is freed from his debt already. Does not owe anybody anything. He is freed from sickness. He is well already, no more sick. From prison, from slavery, from perils of the desert. He has crossed the desert already. So this, when a person attains the jhanas, the 5 hindrances are eliminated long term. This is different from the other day we read Sutta 46, Samyutta Nikaya 4638, where when a person listens to the Dhamma and he listens with eager ears, attending to the Dhamma with all his attention, at that time, at that moment, the 5 hindrances are not there. That is temporary when you listen to the Dhamma. But that temporary elimination of Dhamma, of hindrances, is enough for you to attain stream entry and Sotapanna. But this is different. This is a long-term elimination, and you can attain the second path, second fruit, etc. So this Sutta Digha Nikaya number 2 is quite clear that the 5 hindrances are eliminated long term. Samyutta Nikaya 55.40, the Buddha said, when the mind is not concentrated, Dhamma does not become manifest, does not become clear. Because Dhamma does not become manifest, he is reckoned as one who dwells negligently. So the Buddha is saying, when the mind is not concentrated, the Dhamma does not become clear to him. When the mind is concentrated, then the Dhamma becomes very clear, and you can understand. So the higher the concentration, the higher the wisdom. Now we come to Majjhima Nikaya 31. Here the Buddha talked about a monk who attains the first jhana, And the Buddha said, this is a supramundane state, a distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the Aryans. Similarly, for the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and the arupa jhanas, these are all supramundane states, a distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the Aryans. Now, another sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 3.89, where the Buddha talked about the three trainings, the training in the Adisila, the training in the Adichitta, and the training in the Adipanya. This is also the training in the higher morality, higher mind, and higher wisdom. This is equivalent to the Noble Eightfold Path. Sila, Samadhi, Panya consists of these three trainings. And in this sutta, they said that the training in the Adichitta is the four jhanas. The higher mind is the four jhanas. When you attain the four jhanas, you have a higher, more developed mind. Now, Anguttara Nikaya 4.194. Utter purity of mind, Chitta Parisuddhi, is defined as the four jhanas. When you attain the four jhanas, you have utter purity of mind. Why is it utter purity of mind? Because the five hindrances are eliminated to such a low level, and the mind is so pure. In the suttas it is said that when you attain the fourth jhana, light pervades the whole body. The whole body, from the top of your head to the toes, the whole body emits light. So because your whole body emits light, even Mara notices. So when Mara notices, he will come to disturb this ascetic who has attained the four jhanas. Because he knows when you attain the four jhanas, you are near to enlightenment. And because Mara's ego is very big, he doesn't like that. Besides, when you attain the fourth jhana, your light is so bright, much brighter than his light. And devas, they measure a person's superiority by your light and by your psychic powers. So he doesn't like if you attain the fourth jhana. So, utter purity of mind is the four jhanas. In the Ratta Vinita Sutta, they talk about purity of different states, and purity of mind is mentioned, but it's not stated what do you mean by purity of mind. But from here you can see it refers to the four jhanas. Now in the Anguttara Nikaya 6.29, the Buddha said, a monk enters and abides in the fourth jhana. This state of mindfulness, when developed and cultivated, leads to the complete penetration of the countless elements. What the Buddha is saying is when you attain the fourth jhana, you can penetrate all the countless elements. That means you can understand whatever you want to know, whatever you contemplate, you will know. In fact, it is stated in the suttas that when you attain the fourth jhana, you have utter purity of sati. Your mindfulness becomes perfect in the fourth jhana. Unfortunately, there are some monks, some of you know in the book, one monk has said, what is the use of jhana? When you are in jhana, you have no sati. That may be true of the Visuddhi Magga jhana, but it is not true of the Sutta jhana. So, why I say, why I mention this, because when a person attains the fourth jhana, that mindfulness or recollection is so perfect that he can recollect his past lives. Many hundreds of past lives he can remember. That is why. So, here, you note carefully that when you attain the fourth jhana, you can know whatever you incline your mind to know. And then Majjhima Nikaya 13.9. When a person attains the fourth jhana, When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs his mind to whatever knowledge he wants to know, and he will know. So when you have attained the fourth jhana, the mind is bright, purified, unblemished. No, it's not dirty at all. Rid of imperfection, and it's perfect. Malleable, wieldy, that means you can use it for whatever you want to. Steady, attain to imperturbability, unshakable. Then when he inclines his mind to know something, he will know whatever he wants to know. And that's the beauty of the fourth jhana. But the fourth jhana is very hard to attain. Anguttara Nikaya 6.70, the Buddha said, "Verily, monks, that a monk without the peace of concentration in high degree, without attaining one-pointedness of mind, could realize for himself with direct knowledge in this very life the taintless liberation by mind, liberation by wisdom. That cannot be." So here the Buddha is saying, without the peace of concentration in high degree, that means a high state of concentration, he cannot attain liberation by mind or liberation by wisdom. So this again contradicts the commentaries where they talk about the pure vipassana arahant without any jhana. Here the Buddha is saying not only concentration, you need concentration in high degree, at least the fourth jhana, to attain liberation. Then Anguttara Nikaya 9.36, the Buddha said, "Truly I say, monks, asava destruction or enlightenment depends on the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana." So here the Buddha is saying very clearly that enlightenment depends on the first jhana, second, third, and fourth jhana. In the Samyutta Nikaya 16.13, the Buddha talked about the decline of the true Dhamma. The decline of Buddhism is the decline of the true Dhamma. So the true Dhamma meaning the suttas of the Buddha. And the Buddha said in the future, people will not listen to his suttas, but will listen to the words of disciples. That means disciples meaning later monks who write later books. And the Buddha said there are 5 conditions leading to the decline of the true Dhamma. One is disrespect for the Buddha. Second, disrespect for Dhamma, that means the true Dhamma, the suttas. Third is disrespect for the Sangha. Fourth is disrespect for the training, Siu Sing. Like nowadays, people belittle Siu Sing. They say if you cultivate yourself, you are selfish, walking the path of the selfish arahant. That's a Mahayana teaching. But if you don't cultivate yourself, how can you reduce your greed, hatred and delusion? You cannot reduce your greed, hatred and delusion unless you practice the Noble Eightfold Path taught by the Buddha. And then the 5th condition is disrespect for concentration. And Bhikkhu Bodhi in his notes remarked that the commentary says disrespect for concentration means a person has not attained the jhanas and makes no effort to attain the jhanas. That is disrespect for concentration. Worse still, if you belittle the jhanas, that leads to the decline of the true Dhamma. In the Majjhima Nikaya 27, the Buddha talked about the footprints of the Buddha, how he walked the path to enlightenment. And the Buddha said the first step is the first jhana. Second step is the second jhana. Third step is the third jhana. Fourth step is the fourth jhana. Fifth step, he recollected his past lives. The sixth step, he used the divine eye, heavenly eye, to see beings dying and reborn according to their karma. And then the seventh step, he contemplated the Four Noble Truths and became enlightened. So these are the 7 steps of the Buddha to enlightenment. In other words, this is the real Bodhisattva path. The real Bodhisattva path is here. Nowadays, they distort the Buddha's path to enlightenment. For example, in the Mahayana, they say the Buddha cultivated paramis and became enlightened. The paramis were never spoken of by the Buddha. The Buddha never even heard the word paramis. And then the Pure Land will say, the Buddha recited Amitabha Buddha and then became enlightened. So all these contradicts the early suttas. So if we want to attain enlightenment, this is the way, at least the 4 jhanas. In the Majjhima Nikaya 64, the Buddha said there is a path to abandon the 5 lower factors. When you abandon the 5 lower factors, you become an anagamin or an arahant. And the Buddha also said it is impossible to abandon the 5 lower factors without walking this path. And what is the path? The Buddha said the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. So the 4 jhanas lead to anagamin and arahant. In other words, the condition to become an anagamin or an arahant is the 4 jhanas. And the Buddha said it is impossible to become an anagamin or an arahant without attaining the 4 jhanas. That's why you find anagamins are reborn in the 4th jhana heaven or arupa heavens. Most anagamins, because they have already attained the 4th jhana, they are reborn in the Suddhavasa abodes, that is the 4th jhana. But there are some who have attained arupa jhanas, they are reborn in the arupa heavens. Then there's an interesting sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 12.23, where the Buddha talks about the dependent origination of liberation. How are the conditions needed for liberation? First, you have faith, because you hear the true Dhamma, you have faith, saddha. And then, after that, joy arises, pamoja. And then, if you practice, you attain delight, piti. And then, after that, tranquility, pasadi. After that, happiness, sukhang. After that, concentration, samadhi. After that, knowing and seeing things as they really are, yatta buddha jnana dasana. And that will lead to revulsion, nibbida, and dispassion, viraga. And because of that, it will lead you to liberation, vimutti. So here the Buddha is saying that first you have to listen to the Dhamma, to have faith, the real Dhamma, the true Dhamma. Then after that, you practice and you get the piti, delight, tranquility, happiness, concentration. These are all connected with the jhanas. And after attaining the jhanas, you know and see things as they really are. Yatta buddha jnana dasana. This is not the only sutta. There are other suttas that also say the condition for knowing and seeing things as they really are is concentration. And once you know and see things as they really are, you have revulsion and dispassion. Just like just now we heard, once a person understands the Dhamma, he practices seclusion, he withdraws from society. So here it's quite clear the condition for knowing and seeing things is concentration. And then Majjhima Nikaya number 30, the Buddha talked about the simile of the hardwood, how a person comes into monkhood and attains various attainments and he's satisfied, does not make effort to attain higher. The first one is he gains honor and renown, and then he's satisfied. But the Buddha said it's not enough. And then the second, he must practice virtue. And then after attaining virtue, also this is not enough. He should practice concentration. And then that also is not enough. Then he should attain knowledge and vision, that is insight. Then the Buddha said that is also not enough. Then he should attain higher states, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, etc. So here the sutta is saying that without attaining the jhanas, even you attain knowledge and vision, that is inferior to the jhanas, because when you attain the jhanas, you have higher levels of knowledge and vision. Now we come to how to attain the jhanas. In the Majjhima Nikaya 44, so just now it was quite clear that to attain higher levels, you have to attain higher jhanas. When you have lower jhanas, below the fourth jhana, you can only attain Sakadagamin, second fruition. When you attain the fourth jhana, you can attain Anagamin and Arahanthood. So how to attain the jhanas? In the Majjhima Nikaya 44, Chula Vedala Sutta, it is said the four Satipatthana are the nimitta of concentration. Nimitta has two meanings. One is the sign or the mark. The second meaning is the cause or the reason or the basis. So Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi has translated using basis. The four Satipatthana are the basis of concentration. In other words, if you want to attain concentration, the jhanas, you need to practice the four Satipatthana. This is quite clear from the sutta. And this is confirmed by the Anuruddha Samyutta. In the Anuruddha Samyutta 52.11 up to 24, Venerable Anuruddha was asked, what did you practice to attain the various psychic powers? And he said, it is, friends, because I have developed and cultivated these four Satipatthana that I have attained to great higher knowledges. I recollect or remember 1,000 world cycles. I wield the various kinds of psychic powers. That is, one body becomes many, many bodies become one. I can appear and disappear. I can go through a wall. I can dive in and out of the earth. I can walk on water. I can, sitting cross-legged, I can fly like a bird. I can touch the sun and the moon. I can fly as far as the Brahma world. With a heavenly ear, I can hear heavenly and human sounds near and far. I can know or I can read the minds of other beings. With a heavenly eye, I can see beings passing away and being reborn. So all these, the Venerable Anuruddha attributed to the four Satipatthana. By practicing the four Satipatthana, he attains psychic powers. Sometimes you hear some people saying people practice the jhanas because they are greedy for psychic powers. But here he's telling you, if you want psychic powers, you must practice the Satipatthana. Now in the Samyutta Nikaya 47.8, the Buddha gave the simile of the foolish, incompetent, unskillful cook who does not pick up the sign of his master's preference. So this cook, he does not notice what his master likes to eat, what type of food, whether it's sweet or sour or hot, etc. So he does not cook according to his master's preference, though he does not get additional gifts and wages and bonuses. So the Buddha said, so too monks, here some foolish, incompetent, unskillful monk dwells contemplating body, feelings, mind and Dhamma. While he dwells contemplating body, feelings, mind and Dhamma, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruptions or hindrances are not abandoned. He does not pick up that sign, does not pick up that cue. That foolish, incompetent, unskillful monk does not gain pleasant abidings or pleasant dwellings in this very life, nor does he gain mindfulness and recollection, sati sampajanya. For what reason? Because monks, that foolish, incompetent, unskillful monk does not pick up the sign of his own mind. Then conversely, the Buddha said, monks, here some wise, competent, skillful monk dwells contemplating body, feelings, mind and Dhamma. While he dwells contemplating body, feelings, mind and Dhamma, his mind becomes concentrated. His corruptions, that is the hindrances, are abandoned. He picks up that sign. That wise, competent, skillful monk gains pleasant dwellings in this very life. He gains mindfulness and recollection, sati sampajanya.